Welcome. Recalls. I'm going to talk a lot about it and kind of where we're at the last year or two and what affected probably a lot of people in this room, either as in your workplace or as just a normal food consumer in the industry. Okay. A bit about myself. I've worked at Costco now. I'm coming up on 25 years. Costco's kind of unique. We promote a lot from within, so I've ran warehouses and I started working in food safety 8 or 9 years ago as internal auditor, moved my way up to a manager, and now I'm overseeing the whole shebiggle. We oversee a lot of things in our department, as I'm sure a lot of you also do. This light is really bright. QA, we have a whole commissary in Vaughan that makes all our croissants. Anyone here buy Costco croissants? Because they're amazing? Yes. All of the croissants for North America and Mexico are made here in Vaughan. So they're making millions of croissants every month. It's quite an impressive facility. We're doing online delivery now, business centers, same day. It's just growing and growing and growing. It's not just the Costco store anymore. It's quite the complex enterprise. What we do product safety and recalls, internal food safety audits. In our policy with our food safety plan at Costco is to find the problem before someone else finds the problem. Obviously, we're just too big now to take any risk. The amount of internal production that we do, if you shop there and you know our bakery, meat, and deli lines are just a huge production machine. The amount of chickens and pot pies and hot dogs that we sell is it's astronomical now in our only 109 Canadian locations. So let's talk about recalls. Recalls are a big reality in food safety world. We know it's something we have to deal with. I think the big goal in recalls, obviously, is to minimize the impact on you, minimize the impact on the consumer. But there's a lot of variables that have been changing over the last few years that have really made it more interesting. I use the word interesting because they told me I'm not allowed to swear today. Overall, Canada does a pretty good job with recalls. If you go into detail about, the statistics and drawing out the numbers of how they're handled in Canada, we do a good job. There's a lot of control. Unfortunately, there's a lot of experience with it that comes with it. But it is growing. The amount of food that we're buying overseas from other countries, places we would never do business in before, just because of demand. One of the most common things I'm asked as a Costco person is, I don't understand why you guys don't sell more local produce. And the answer is, unfortunately, they can't make enough. We can't get it. We need over 600 pallets of strawberries a day. Which farm in Ontario is doing that? So it's, we're looking elsewhere. We're looking overseas. We're looking in places we never did before, which brings risk. What the industry does well, you guys know this stuff. We're very good with compliance. The CFIA is all over us with anything that happens with recalls. Sometimes they're a little slow to get going, but when they wake up, it's an intense process. This is just the reality of it. They're busy, there's stuff happening, and I get it. Do we react well? Yes. Very good with investigations. I've found with a lot of the retailers that I associate with, they're very good with the follow-up and the detail but can we do better? Absolutely. I think the communication one is one that falls on this slide and the next slide. Because are we good at it? Yes. Could we be better at it? Absolutely. Okay. Sounds like a very handsome man there. Where's there room for improvement? Traceability. And traceability is a big topic of discussion. I could talk about traceability for 3 hours, especially when you're doing internal production. The first thing, if you do a recall because there was something in the chocolate milk. Okay, who made the chocolate milk? Where did it come from? What lot codes did you sell? Well, I sell thousands of pallets a day. There is no possible way to know exactly what lot code I sold in my stores. It's a massive undertaking. So where can we get better with it? And we're going to talk about that near the end. The monitoring, the accountability is everything. And that's where the government holds our feet to the fire is do you know what you sold and where it went? So some examples. And if any of you are affected negatively by these examples, I apologize now. I don't really apologize, but we're going to talk about it. Compass Minerals. So Compass Minerals had a major salt recall. Did it affect me? Absolutely. Did it affect everyone pretty much in this room that buys bread? Yes, probably. So in October 30th, 2024, they had a recall, the Sifto brand salt for pieces of metal, and that's actually a picture of one of the pieces of metal that they found in the salt. The cause of it is not important. It happened. It was due to mainly neglect from verification steps, and this was able to happen over time where these little pieces of metal could possibly be in your salt over the last whatever. And do you know what salt goes into? Everything, especially me. I put it in my coffee. It's fantastic. So yeah, 67.8 metric tons, approximately. There was a lot of discussion, I remember, with when we were talking to Compass Salt about how do we find it, what are we going to do, can we water down the salt to melt it, and you'll find the metal. Because at the end of the day, we just wanted to find the 12 square inches of metal or whatever it was that was missing. So at Costco, also, like, I don't know if you know this, but not only do we make croissants, but we make our own bread and our buns and so this impact was everything to us. I know it didn't go to every vendor, but we used the Sifto salt. So we literally had to recall all of the croissants in North America and Mexico for weeks and weeks. And let me tell you, it's a lot of freaking croissants. That total waste. And unfortunately, you can't donate them. You can't really do much with it because of that one little tiny speck of metal that could possibly be in it. So these, I'll talk about this after. If you could play these two videos, that'd be great. Do I do it? I don't know how to do it.
Dozens of popular bread and bun products have been recalled in Canada after pieces of metal were found inside. That's right, Wonder Bread, No Name, D'Italiano, Country Harvest, and President's Choice are among the many brands affected by the recall. The affected products were shipped to Ontario, Quebec, and Newfoundland and Labrador, and customers are warned not to use or distribute the products. Dozens of popular bread and bun products have been recalled in Canada after pieces of metal.
Some of the most popular brands of bread have been recalled in Canada for having pieces of metal inside. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency issued a warning to consumers on November 1st regarding 37 varieties of bread and buns that are being taken off the shelves in Ontario, Quebec, and Newfoundland and Labrador for containing extraneous material. And some of the brands include Wonder, President's Choice, Great Value, No Name, and more. And for the full list, make sure you go to blogto.com and read the full article.
Who are these people? I don't know them. Does anyone here know them? Are they popular? Do they have a lot of viewers? This is the world that we're living in now. So not only do we do the official announcement that goes on the website, and because of Costco, and I think that's why I got asked to talk about recalls at Costco, we know what you bought, so we can get a hold of you. You bought this bread on this date at this cash register at this time. But now we have these people who make it their life goal. I don't know if they build birdhouses at home or have an enormous amount of cats in the basement, but their whole life is pointing out stuff that's on the news and telling you what the news is. So, there's a good and there's a bad to the social media, but here is an example of the communication where, is it the right information? Is it the wrong information? Do we believe it? Do we not believe it? If that lady is an AI person, she needs to fix her hair a bit. But this is the reality that we're getting into now.
Some of the most...
So there was a lot. There was backwards traceability, and then it started getting bigger and bigger. And every week, there was a new set of recalls that the CFIA announced with the salt recall, because like we said, it's in everything. So this is the CFIA website. When you do a search in there for the salt recall. That was the one. So my eyes are so bad, but I'm pretty sure it started in October and they were still announcing recalls mid-December. That kills a company. That could kill a company very, very quickly. Those recalls and that bad publicity is what you don't want. That's the negative effect of recalls. But at the same token, it's what's the right thing to do? What is the right thing to do? Are you going to take the risk of that one child getting a piece of metal stuck in their throat, not knowing how big it could be? It's not worth it. But did it cost millions and millions of dollars? Absolutely it did. The failure in the process was their integrity and their integrity on the individual. Their verification steps were not good. And I'm telling you, because I am aware of what happened there, it was the stupidest thing ever that this could have happened in this multi-billion-dollar company. And they were embarrassed, and they paid the price at the end. But it was literally someone not checking a piece of paper. Monitoring is a preventative measure. Yes, we know this. The individual must believe in the system, accountability in the individual, training in the corporate. If your people don't believe in the process, even for checking a piece of paper once a day, then it's not important. And it's not important until something like this happens. And as in the food safety industry, when does change happen? When it's too late. The other recall I'm going to talk about is the P word. Anyone know what the P word is? Pistachio. Goddamn pistachios. This is more of a relevant one. So I guess about a year ago, and I'm a pretty hefty fella, and I'm like, oh, what is all this Dubai chocolate everyone's talking about? It took off, right? Dubai chocolate was everywhere. At Costco, we were trying to keep up. But the bars came out, and then the chocolate truffles, and then all of a sudden there's like pistachio Dubai bread and ice cream and meatloaf and whatever. They're putting pistachios in everything. So this first video is a quick video on the recall here.
This morning at Pedrick Produce in Dixon, California, they were taking pistachios off the shelves. They came from the Seton Pistachio plant in Central California and may be tainted with salmonella. It's still unclear if people have been sickened by the nuts, but the FDA decided to act.
If you're immune compromised, young or old, it could be deadly.
The nuts have been distributed across the country and could be in dozens of products. For now, the FDA is urging consumers to put the nuts aside and wait until their investigation is complete.
It is going to take days or possibly a couple of weeks before we get this all figured out, maybe even longer.
How much are these?
For consumers, one more food scare is one more reason to wonder what food can be trusted.
Does it seem adequate now that we're getting these warnings and they're taking the stuff off the shelves?
They're telling you, no, absolutely not. They're telling you after the fact. And you really can't protect yourself after the fact.
This winter, contaminated peanuts made more than 600 people sick and may have caused 9 deaths. Also this week, a recall of salmonella-contaminated ground spices are blamed for 42 illnesses in 4 western states. Consumers are warned to be aware.
We have a huge problem in food safety where we're seeing over and over again these scandals. Industrialization of our food system has a cost.
In spite of the growing popularity of farmers markets, most of our food is now part of a nationwide, even worldwide distribution system, where a problem in one place can quickly spread every place. John Blackstone, CBS News, San Francisco.
San Francisco. You may be asking yourself, Brad, why are you using a video that looks very old? This is 2008. This is 18 years ago. Same problem. And now here we are again. Roll it.
Despite its huge popularity, this Dubai chocolate bar filled with ooey gooey pistachio cream was pulled off the shelves of chocolate shop Havana.
When the recall began, we just right away just put our bars aside because we saw that they just kept on recalling different brands.
In fact, Getty says she stopped production of anything but pistachios altogether. She says none of their products at the store have been recalled, but in the face of pistachio recall after recall, she didn't want to take the risk.
For a little business, that time that it took us to prepare like these recipes and get it all going and create all the packaging and source it, like, you know, it's a cost that we lost for sure.
For months now, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency has pulled hundreds of pistachios and pistachio-based items like this one off shelves over possible salmonella contamination. Now, these recalls date as far back as last summer and will likely keep happening because the CFIA is still trying to track down all contaminated items. So why is this happening and why has it lasted so long?
The source of contamination could be coming from many places. I mean, it could only be one small farm somewhere. And when the product's being bulked with what's coming from other farms, all of a sudden the whole lot becomes contaminated.
We do know the contaminated batch comes from Iran. In response to that, the CFIA temporarily banned the import of Iranian pistachios. The agency also mandated testing of pistachios imported before September. It's the only way to tell if a batch is contaminated with salmonella because it doesn't change the look or smell of the nut. Also, tracing all contaminated pistachios is complicated because they have such a long shelf life. People and businesses who use the nuts have likely had them in their pantries for months.
Salmonella can last a long time on food items, especially dry food.
The Public Health Agency of Canada says 155 Canadians have become sick with salmonella because of pistachios. 24 have been hospitalized. The largest number of reported illnesses has happened in Quebec, but the agency states it's likely there have been many more unreported cases. Salmonella symptoms include fever, chill.
We all know that. So, you know, this pistachio recall also big deal. Where the pistachios go in? Well, they're going into everything. Where'd you get the pistachios from? Don't worry, we get them from California. We're fine. 2 weeks later, you know what? We ran out of California pistachios, and sorry, we bought them from Iran. Well, did you test them? You're supposed to test them because you bought them from Iran. Well, we really wanted the sales. These are the answers that came from hundreds of businesses in Canada. Costco was affected by it. One of our suppliers that makes one of our bakery items were using it. A huge company. And they had a hard time finding out where their pistachios came from because it was the Dubai chocolate boom. Everyone was buying from everywhere. If you had pistachios, it was like gold. You could sell it. So that was the problem. Even with the recalls, the Dubai popularity really didn't flounder. People were like joking. Like I would sit on planes and restaurants and I'd hear people be like, "Ooh, it's Dubai chocolate. You're going to get sick." Yum, 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 yum. Like it was a huge recall that again cost millions and millions of dollars, but really didn't affect the community. Why is that? Why is when, you know, romaine lettuce is being recalled, everyone loses their marbles, but a chocolate bar gets recalled and it's fine. It's interesting. Allergens, we could talk all day about allergens, and I'm sure someone in the next 2 days will, but with recalls, right, it's the number one reason for recalls. Labeling, compliance. When it's actual contamination, that's the bad one, when it actually goes in there and we don't label it or we don't list it, or we just don't know. There's a lot of suppliers now that provide for us, and you know, the labeling goes through our team and then it goes through a third-party team, and they still have misses. We had one like last week. It's terrible, but you know, until you have a person in your family that is allergic to something, especially with anaphylaxis, you don't understand the implications it could be. It's very scary, and this ever-changing. You know, in our industry, a lot of our sales. One of the things Costco does. What are the things that you like at Costco? What's a big thing that you always go there for? Sorry? Hot dogs, yes. They'll be $1.50 forever, I promise. Anything else? What do people line up for 10 minutes? A little demo of pizza slice. They'll line up for that free pizza slice. Our demo team has adjusted over the last few years just because of the change in allergens in the industry. You know, we used to demo items with peanuts in it. We used to cook shrimp and fish on the floor where the steam was just going into the air, where people were walking and shopping. And we really had to rethink that because people are becoming either more aware or just more of the allergies are popping up every year. So contamination, you know, I'm not going to read off the slides, but you know the process. Monitoring the ingredients and traceback. Traceback is very, very hard. Not so much for the manufacturing industry, but for the retail side. Compliance, that's the labeling. So are the labels right? Oh, we forgot to put milk on it. Oh, we forgot to put soy on it. Oh, is it really important, Brad? We just had one recently where the outside of the box had a label and the inside packages were a different label. Like, how does that happen? The list of ingredients. So it happens. These are big companies. And again, we are so hard, and if you work in retail, you know what the buying group is like. They're grabbing and rushing to get product from all over the world, and they're skipping steps, and we're missing stuff. So unless you have that discipline of the checklist and even taking that time, even if it means missing sales for a week or two, to get that proper label on it, it's going to save you and your vendor in the long run. The response, I don't think I'm going to go through this very much. It's more about what we're going to do in the future, but the response speed is very good for the most part. Again, we have social media doing all our advertising for us. We put out a notice about one item in one building that got made with something that wasn't right, and we recalled it, and all of a sudden there's 8 social media experts sharing my news for me all over TikTok, which is fine because they also share other good news that creates sales. So it's kind of a give and take relationship with the social media group. Compensation, every company is different. There's a lot of companies out there that are very apologetic and want to get that business back, where they would give a refund and then give another one to get that good taste back in your mouth. You know, people have they're very programmable. They eat something bad, you know. You go on a drinking bender, and at 2 a.m. you eat that sushi from the gas station. Probably not a great idea. And then you pay for it for 3 days afterwards. After that, every time you go pick up sushi, you have that thought of that evening and how wonderful it was. Same thing here. You eat something that's recalled, even if you were fine, you have that image in your head of, well, a lot of people got sick from this, and a couple died, and I could have been at risk, and I fed it to my grandmother, and my sister's pregnant, and she ate it, and all of these kind of things that go through your head. So the compensation and the brand commitment is very important. It could make or break a company. It's very scary, especially with the volumes that we're buying, like I said before. What we don't control as an industry, purchase intention, right? Everyone's like, oh, I'll just order a couple cases of Dubai chocolate, and then the next week you're like, can I get 18 pallets of this because it's sold out and everyone wants it? All of a sudden you're buying more than you thought you'd be buying. News reporting, perceived danger or risk, social media, and false claims illnesses. That's an interesting one. After the recall goes out of the salt, how many people got reports of illness from the salt? It was a piece of metal, but people had fever, people were throwing up, people were dying, and could I get a free chicken? This is what happens. But it's a big thing because you have to go through your insurance companies with some of them, and some of them are it's a costly process. What the literature says, I did a little research before I came, and there's some very interesting articles and books that have been written about recalls over the years. Basically, for the most part, if I were to sum up, it would be that you have to think of it as a service. Your food is like a service. Does your service go bad? We're all at the Hilton right now. It's a lovely hotel. I stay here often, and I'm not going to talk bad about them. But their number one thing is service. If they don't provide good service, you won't stay here again. You won't come back. You're going to tell your friends, oh my God, I was at the Hilton. It was awful. And that will create bad business. Same thing with recalls and food. It's a service. I sell, let's say, 60,000 pot pies a week in the GTA. If one bad pot pie goes, or we recall pot pies, it is going to spread like wildfire, and it could kill that item in an instant. We've been very lucky at Costco. We haven't had any major Kirkland recalls, but it could happen. You know, we don't know what the person, if they're washing their hands while they're making it, and if they didn't pick their nose or take the garbage out before they did it and didn't follow our policies about hand washing. You can't be there 24/7. This is where the problem happens. Human error is a big part of it. So there's a cycle, you know, you serve the food as a service, the member loves the service or they hate the service. If there's a recall, automatically they're hard done by, they've been done wrong somehow. And the big part of it is getting that person back. How do you get that person back after experiencing something bad or thinking they experienced something bad? With Costco, it's usually And don't tell them I told you this. But it's, oh, you didn't like your pot pie, it was recalled, we apologize, here's another one, and pick something else that you like to make it up to you, and enjoy it. We want you to taste it, we want you to come back. That comes back to the purchase intention of keeping that level of purchasing up. Or you're gonna lose business. At the end of the day, it's all money, right? Like, we're all here to save lives and do great with food safety, but as a retail and a corporation, are our sales there? Do our customers trust us? Do you have trust? Do you trust McDonald's? I trust McDonald's, as you can see. It's dollar drink days, people. You're traveling, you're in the industry, you're working nights, and I go to McDonald's and I take the cheeseburger in the dark in the car and I eat it and I trust that it was made properly. I'm going to trust that there's no moldy bun. I'm going to trust that the meat wasn't expired when they cooked it. Any of us have that. That level of trust is key. If you don't have that, it's very hard to get it back. And there's a lot of cliche sayings about 10 years to gain trust, 2 seconds to lose it. It's true, though.
I think we all know the difference between right and wrong. We're taught that very early on, and it's really not that significant a challenge to try to figure out which way you should come down on an issue. The answer, of course, is having the courage to do that, even if it's going to be very costly to you and if it's going to be something significant that you're going to have to deal with.
That's Jim. That's our founder and CEO. He talks about that all the time, and that's why I feel great about our department, because he's very supportive of it. Might cost a lot of money, but it's the right thing to do. And that's where it kind of gets shifty. I am running out of time, so we're going to talk about the future. And like the future, it's going to go by real quick. Here we go. Resources to eliminate. The CFIA, they have their thing. We searched in their section there, declared, and we filtered for all the allergen recalls that came up with the word declared on them. And it's crazy. It's like 200 and something. I think it's like 240. I can't see, bad eyes. It's like 250 recalls in the last few years, which is just undeclared labeling, just allergens that weren't declared on a label. Like, how do you miss that? You know what it's made of. You got to do nutritional. You got to do, you have a list of everything that gets put into it, and you still miss it on the label when it goes out for sale. It's crazy. Digital tracking, upgrade technology, and people are going to talk. I saw a lot of AI subjects in the next 2 days, so I'm not going to cover AI, but it's it's a very big possibility about tracking at the vendor, tracking during transport, and then in the keeping track of all those lot codes and stuff. That's what we're talking about. People retraining, that's always going to be an issue no matter what you have. You're going to have to repeat. Either they're not into it, they don't care, or it's just, they're too busy, or they're new. How many people here have new employees all the time? Happens. Reflecting with a new lens, test and hold. I don't know if you guys know a lot about test and hold, but Costco's really big on test and hold for produce and frozen veggies. We have a whole list of items that we do. So they're produced, they're tested, and they don't release them to us until the test comes back positive. And that's how we're avoiding a lot of recalls right now. Because produce, man, it's a scary place out there. And if you've gone and visited the farms and stuff and watching them poop on their hands and all that, it's a little scary. But this is the reality of where we're at and where we're buying and the volume that we're buying. Continuous learning. I think it's going to be very interesting using the little RF, the little scanners that go in the labels now and for tracking in the future, especially with ingredients if you're producing in-house. I think that's going to be a big groundbreaker in the future. If you haven't started that company, I highly recommend you do. There's a lot of money to be made there. But yeah, test and hold and scanning in the future. Scanning what? Don't know. It's always changing. Right now it's QR codes. Could be something different in the next 5 years. But it's going to be very interesting. I'm waiting for that day where the receivers just have a pair of glasses on, those meta glasses, and they just look at a box and it tells you what date it was produced on the little screen in your glasses. If you don't think it's coming, remember 10 years ago we used earphones with wires. Just saying. Establish the new standard, the demand for the suppliers to be on point and know their traceability. Food safety is a culture, always a challenge. That's why you're here these next 2 days, is to really make sure that, food safety is at the forefront of people's mind. It's so important now more than ever. Global buying, like I was talking about, when you're buying meat and milk from Russia and Australia and Europe and who knows where it's coming from. Are we auditing those farms? Are we auditing those places? Is anyone looking? Food safety is a culture. AI, predictive models. That's way too technical for me. What will you do to advance it? What will this room do? There's this summit, there's the US summit, all the bigwigs are here, all the people that make important decisions. What are we going to do to get to that next bar, to get to that next step? Costco's always looking. I'm sure your companies are always looking. But it's how do we lessen the impact and keep our customers safe? Anyway, thank you so much for listening to me. We got 6 seconds for questions.
More minutes for questions here. Any questions for Brad?
Also, my team, Ian, is a food safety manager. Nicole, one of my auditors, is here. So over the next 2 days, if you have any questions, please feel free to bother them.
We have one question here. We're coming with you to the microphone.
Is it about hot dogs?
Kindly state your name and where you're from.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes. I am Eva Evangelista. I work for Law Block Companies Limited. And my question to you is, I'm very curious to understand, for the Kirkland brand, how do you manage vendor compliance and also specifications alignment? Thank you.
No problem. So the question, how do we manage our home brand? I'm hoping that everyone in this room is aware of Kirkland's signature brand. It's, like a PC brand, and there's a bunch of them out there. It's our baby. Our name's on it, right? So it goes through a higher amount of vetting with the vendors. There's definitely a process they go through, and then we do audits at the vendor level. Third party and ourselves will visit them. But once we put our name on something, it's gone through rigorous testing. Like, I walked into a room a couple weeks ago, and there was like 42 different kinds of hot dogs on the table, and I'm like, I am not trying all of those hot dogs, just so you know. And then they went through it, and we're trying to find local vendors. Where a lot of our hot dogs were made in the US, so we're moving to Canadian vendors now. It's a savings in money, and it's buying local, and it's a whole bunch of good things. But once we put our name on it, it's very scrutinized before it does. And then they have to keep that standard. And it's a yearly review of the vendors to make sure that they're keeping that standard. We also have internal QA lab where we test all our products. They do like 2 days just on bacon. It's crazy. The whole place smells like bacon for 2 days. It's fantastic. But they can talk to you for 8 hours about how much fat's in a piece of bacon and the shape and the color and how it goes, and then is it meeting our standards. So our goal is for Kirkland items to be better than the name brand. And most of them are. There's a couple that are, it's like family. There's a bunch of winners and a couple losers mixed into it. Right? My people are rolling their eyes because they've heard that joke like 5 times.
Other questions? People, no more?
Okay,
I have one. So,
we're done, Frank. The time is over.
not a hard one. Were there any recalls that particularly affected you personally, or you were surprised by? Maybe the scale of it, or...
I joke, again, my people are going to give me the side eye here. I joke that I just eat Mars bars because they never get recalled. Forget the lettuce and the green beans. They're dangerous. The Mars bars and Pringles, boop, boop, they're fine. No. You know what's funny? And anyone who's been in this industry a long time, and I haven't even been a long time, but nothing surprises me anymore. It's like, oh, yeah, well, someone found a human tooth in the salad. Oh, okay, well... Probably not, but all right, we're going to deal with it. So no, the salt one was a big, I remember it was like the night before Halloween, and I got the phone call, and it's like, oh my God, that salt is in everything. Not only do we sell it, but we use it, and our commissary uses it. We have silos outside of our commissary that are like 10 stories tall, and it was full of that salt and sugar. Like, we use a lot of it. So it was kind of detrimental, that one. But yeah, nothing that really impacted me a lot because I eat junk food, so I'm good.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, guys.